So basically, what were Vihar? This basic difference between Sangha and Vihar was that Sangha was for students and Vihar was for so those who have come to learn, those who have come to study the Buddhist and the Jain literature, they used to live in Sangha. जो students होते थे, those who have come to study, those who have come to learn, they used to live in the Sangha. And the teachers, they used to live in the Vihar. The religious teachers used to live in vihars. Have you seen in your school, cathedral school, you have the parish house and the sisters convent, right? There is a place where fathers live, and then there is a place where sisters of your school live, right? So vihars were like the parish house or the convent where the Buddhist teachers, Buddhist monks used to live. People are requested to keep the mics mute so that we can end this up. The last topic is Upanishads. I would like to end this up today. So Upanishads were certain books. You can read this out later. These were certain books which were containing knowledge about God, knowledge about religion. So Upanishads were basically those books which contain knowledge which the guru or the teacher used to give to the students. At the same time, I am reading this out. At the same time, when the Buddha was preaching, many Hindu thinkers were discussing new ideas about Atma and Brahma. They raised questions about life and death and the need of sacrifices. Most of the ideas of these thinkers were recorded in the Upanishads. So during the time when Buddhism and Jainism was into existence, there were other leaders also who did not follow Buddhism and Jainism, but they had their own ideas. If you remember, there were as many as more than 60 new religions. अब सब तो Buddhism और Jainism नहीं पढ़ाते थे. So there were other teachers also. Now these other teachers have also given their education somewhere. And this education is compiled in the book called Upanishads. There are more than 100 Upanishads, out of which, as you've written in the answer, Brihadaranyaka and Chandogya. If you check out the last lines of the chapter, Brihadaranyaka and Chandogya, these were the important Upanishads. Many Upanishadic thinkers were men, in fact, Brahmins and Rajas. But there were women thinkers like Gargi, who was famous for her learning and participated in debates. Poor people hardly participated in the discussions. One exception was Satyakam Jabala. So Satyakam Jabala was one of those students who also gave his valuable ideas. And these valuable ideas are compiled in some of the Upanishads. He was accepted by a Brahmin teacher called Gautam. So Satyakama Jabala had a teacher whose name was Gautam. He became one of the most learned thinkers of the time. Many ideas of the Upanishads were later developed by Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya was also a very important philosopher in Indian history. So Shankaracharya also gave his ideas and they are compiled into Upanishads. Now this is important. The word Upanishad consists of three words. Underline this. Up means near, Ni means down, and Shad means seated. So this word Upanishad means to sit near the feet of the Guru and receive the teaching. Underline this. Guru ke चरणों के पास बैठ के ज्ञान प्राप्त करना. The meaning of the word Upanishad is Guru ke चरणों के पास बैठ के ज्ञान प्राप्त करना. To sit near the feet of the Guru and to receive education. The main topic of Upanishad is the ultimate knowledge, the identity of the Brahman and the Jivatma. The philosophical text criticized rituals and they laid stress on the values of right belief and knowledge. They also said that right knowledge of God is important and following religious activities is not very important. There are 13 major Upanishads. However, there are more than 100 Upanishads, I have told you. They were written between 8th and 4th century BC. The language is Sanskrit. Underline the term. The Upanishads are written in Sanskrit. Different Upanishads are related with the four Vedas, the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda and Atharveda. The longest and the oldest Upanishad are Brihadaranyaka and Chandogya Upanishad. Whatever is left you want to ask, you can now message me separately. Children, have you marked the exercises? Quickly tell me. Have you marked exercise C? Shabd.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Only C1.
Only C1 means C1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
So we
ma'am.
have to mark exercise D onwards.
Ma'am, we have to mark from A, B, D, and E.
Okay. So let's mark exercise D quickly. It will take just 2 minutes. Enumerate the four noble truths of Buddhism. Turn to page number B3. B3 of the new book. Under the heading The Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths. The world is full of suffering. The cause of suffering is desire. To end suffering, one must get rid of desire. To end desire, one must follow the eightfold path. Close the bracket at eightfold path. This is answer number D1. Question number D2. Quickly. Differentiate between Hinayan and Mahayan. Turn to page number 4. B4. Hinayan and Mahayan. The first heading, spread of Buddhism. Check out the first line. Buddhism was divided into two sects. Buddhism was divided into two sects. Then write the both blue color headings. Then the first paragraph. Close the bracket at Bodhisattva. Close the bracket at Bodhisattva where the paragraph ends. Found? Question number
Yes, ma'am.
3. Okay, D3. Mention the three jewels of Jainism. Same page, page number 4. Right side. Right side. Now you see three blue color points are there. Above it, there is a line, the three jewels of life. Check out the heading, Teachings of Mahavir. Check out the heading, Teachings of Mahavir. And see the last line of this paragraph, the three jewels of life. Write a word A-R-E-R. Write down a word after life. So the three jewels of life are right faith, right knowledge, right action. Close the bracket at action. Question number D4. Differentiate between Digambar and Shwetambar. Page number 4 again. The second paragraph of the page. The second last paragraph of the page. It is written, later Jainism was divided. Open the bracket from Jainism was divided. Open the bracket. Jainism was divided into two sects, the Digambar or the sky clad and the Shwetambar or the white clad. The Digambar observed long fast and did not wear clothes. The Shwetambar were more liberal and wore white clothes. Close the bracket at clothes. So these two paragraphs are answer number D. These two paragraphs are answer number D4. Question number 5. Who could join the Buddhist Sangh? Who could not? Turn to page number 5. Turn to page number 5. Under the heading The Sangha, count down 11th line. Please count down 11th line. All men could join the Sangha. 11th line. All men could join the Sangha. Children who wanted to join the Sangha had to seek permission of the parents. A woman had to take her husband's permission. Only emancipated or free slaves or dasas could join the Sangha. Close the bracket at Sangha. So this is answer number D5. Just a minute. Please add one more line to it. Both men and women who joined the Sangha led simple lives. Sorry. Answer number D5 is after joining the Sangha, both men and women who joined the Sangha led simple lives. So close the bracket at simple lives. So I think we don't have time to do exercise E because you already have a class. We will meet on Saturday. Maybe I'll let you know if that is possible and then we will do that.